Troubled times, you know I cannot lie. I'm on the wagon and I'm hitching a ride away. Genius! Conor O'Farrell explains if Green Day are slop or not. Now let's get into it. Where was I looking? I was trying to look at you. Anyways, we're gonna figure out is Green Day slop. We have to figure out what is slop, how to detect slop. We got to figure out how much of Green Day is slop. Then we got to figure out are Green Day even talented, and finally whether I think Green Day are slop and not, and why. So here, if we're gonna look over here at the music matrix, this is the slop line. We look at the energy level of a song and then we figure out where it is. Is it in the metal, punk, or low energy range, which could be indie, blues, jazz, country, etc. And then we go over the level of catchiness of the song, and we see if it then goes from being punk to punk and rock, either metal into metal and rock, or some low energy music slash pop, right? So now, the slop line is a 7. Anything less than a 7 catchy tends to get called slop. Now, how do we figure out catchiness? Because energy is self-explanatory. If you're trying to go for a run, you want high energy music. If you're putting on music when you go for the run and the song is not amping you up, you change it until you find something that does amp you up. And so that tends to be the punk threshold, the high versus low energy threshold at the 5. So that's easy to figure out. But now we want to look at catchiness. So here's the slop zone of catchiness. Here is the for fans zone. If you're a fan of the band, you're probably going to like it, but maybe not everyone. And then here's the hit zone where most people are going to like a song because it's that catchy, right? So this is probably the 7 line or the 6 line. You know, the slop zone starts kind of here. But this is really the hardcore slop zone. If you are corny, you're guaranteed to be slop. If you're incoherent, you're guaranteed to be slop, right? If you're in the money zone, this is where you have maybe a good chance of being slop still. You have a good chance of being for fans. You have a good chance of the song being for everyone, and a good chance of it becoming mega super big hit, right? So examples, Back in Black is super balanced in terms of predictability. It's not completely incoherent or completely corny. Bohemian Rhapsody is probably about as zany as you can get with still getting a smash hit, but after that it's kind of a bad news bears situation. So we're going to look at, now that we know what slop is and how to figure it out and how to detect slop, we're going to look at how much of Green Day is slop, right? And so the best way to do that is to kind of look at slop distributions. I see where I messed up before. This thing is sticky. Now, we're going to look at, so you can see there, David Bowie is a less than 50-50, and Motorhead is for OnlyFans. OnlyFans, I love Bonnie Blue. No, it's a different type of OnlyFans. Now, this is, stuff that where there's not really any hits and there's not really any slop, but mostly it's stuff that's in the middle. It's for fans, right? So you think Slayer, Motorhead. If you're sold on Slayer, you're sold on the idea of Motorhead. You just want some energy from the music. It's an 8 out of 10 on energy, a 7 out of 10 on energy. It's going to be good for a run, even though it's not that catchy. You're not going to listen to it at a party or anything like that. Then you've got David Bowie, who's got relatively mostly slop, but he's got so many hits that people don't think about it because they only tend to think about the top 10 songs they remember. They're the best from an artist. Same with Limp Bizkit, except Limp Bizkit has less hits, so more people go Limp Bizkit slop because Limp Bizkit maybe has 5 really good songs and immediately 5 songs are total slop. So they go on average, they're not that good. On average, they're slop is what people go, or on average, they're great, right? Versus David Bowie has 10 maybe, 15 maybe really good songs, and then 100 million slop. But because people only remember those top 10 in their mind, they go, oh, well, David Bowie are good, even though they still have a less than 50-50 distribution, right? So now we're talking about, who are we talking about? I forgot who the video is about. Green Day! Green Day. Okay, so for me, I'm going to go Green Day is probably a flat distribution. You're going to wonder why a flat distribution. I think they go in the bucket of Led Zeppelin and of Nine Inch Nails. They have so many hits and so many great B-sides and deep cuts for fans, but they also have a good bit of total just like slop music. So I'm going to give them a friggin' straight line distribution. This is about ratio, not total amount. Clearly, someone like Green Day, I would say, has more hits than someone like Weezer, right? Or maybe not Weezer is a bad example. Limp Bizkit. Yeah, I don't know. But hey, you get the point. Anyways, now we got to look at this. Some people don't care about quality. They don't care about hits. They don't care about that. They just care about, are they insanely good guitarists? Do they have an insanely good musical style? Are they contributing to music? Are they virtuoso? Some people just care about, do they have a good t-shirt I can wear at Hot Topics? Now, for these people, we've got to look at where do their talents lie? Where is Green Day talented? Where is Green Day cooked? Now, where are they cooked and where are they cooking? Where is Green Day cooked and where are Green Day cooking? Now we're going to look here. Historical impact, present impact. This is the brand category. Do they have a T-shirt at Walmart that people want to wear, right? Obese people want to wear a double, triple, quadruple XL. I also wear double, triple, quadruple XLs. Now this is as a pump cover because you don't want to see the muscles. You don't want to see the muscles when you're looking out the end to see, like, I got this guy, and then you take off the shirt and you're like, whoa, look at my muscles. Anyways, so Green Day, they get a green in this category. Green means good, yellow means mid, red means bad. Now, if we look at musicianship, I would probably put them at more of a yellow, though they have a really good vibe. And the skill, it's a yellow-green. Like, I'm not going to say they're virtuosos, because that's kind of what this category really is. Virtuoso, brand. And then songwriting, though, Green Day, yeah, it's probably about this. They got to get a green here for me. And so overall, Green Day is kind of, in for movie example, when you're making a movie, you talk about a movie, if it's a 4-quadrant film, which means there's people who just care about romance. And so if you have romance in your movie, they like it. People who just care about comedy, if they like it, well, if you have comedy in your movie, they're going to like it, right? So you got both. People who just care about action, if it has action in it, they're going to like it too. And if it has a really good story, people who just care about writing, they're going to like it too. So if it has romance, comedy, action, and a good script, it's a 4-quadrant film. Likewise, if a band has good songwriting, musicianship, and brand, they're a 3-quadrant band. So Green Day, in my book, are a 3-quadrant band. So now, all that says is people are not going to be split. Because they are pretty universally talented, people are not going to be split. So now, this is for one song, but how do we look at the band? Well, as I alluded to, most people look at the top 10 songs they can think of, and they kind of mush them together into an average. And so, I'm going to show and summarize what were the top 10 songs I'm picking, and where does that put them for me. And because they're pretty consistent, my top 10 and where I put them is probably not going to move much from where you put them. It might be a little bit lower energy because I really like rock, and so I like things that are higher energy. I prefer rock over pop. So even if they have songs that are equal catchiness, I'm probably going to pick out of the top 20, the top 10 that rock harder with higher energy. So let's see what I picked. Brain stew. I'm having trouble trying to sleep, and then when I come around, and then gonna be an American idiot, and then on holiday, and then I walk this lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but it's only me and I walk alone. And then basket case. Until you know you're enemy, whoa, babe. Don't wanna be the minority. And then there's a drought at the valley of youth, and I'm dehydrated. My tongue is swelling up, I said, oh no. Troubled times, you know I can't lie. On a bounty on a bed, trying to run. And then, almost, no. First one, runner up. First one to lose a race. Almost only really counts in oceans and hand grenades. I'm not fucking around. Doing a good, I don't out. Mistake is made, hurry up and down. Down is the first one to lose a race. Almost only really counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Okay, so that puts them at 6.7 on energy. Most people would call Green Day a punk band, which lines up with what you would see here, right? And then when it comes to rock, those songs are so catchy. They take it over from punk into punk rock. So that's where people go, Green Day sold out. What that means in the punk world is they wrote songs that people were that good. They wrote good songs. They didn't just have the median energy level of a punk band. People go, there's cultural things about punk too, and what makes it punk versus rock? When people listen to music, they describe it based off of what they're hearing, not of the cultural context most times. Though people who might watch this video and music nerds do, but if you go to a normie person and you play a song, they're putting it into these buckets based off of energy. And if it gets this certain catchiness, they're probably going to call it rock and or punk rock, right? If I play you a really catchy, exit night at delight, take my hand off to never land, doom, doom, doom. If I play like Enter Sandman, people are going to call it rock and or metal. If they hear it, they're not going to call it indie. They don't care about the cultural context. It doesn't matter if Metallica were an indie band in the ethos. This is what people call things, right? So get out of your own freaking skull. But yeah, so this is where I predict it to be. They have a flat catalog distribution of quality. They have 3-quadrant band. That means they have low controversy. And I'm going to say they're a rock band. Some people might pull them into the punk. Maybe with some of the newer stuff, it might go down to indie and or pop. But overall, that's where I put Green Day. I say they're probably going to be called a rock band. By most people, I consider them a rock band. And let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. If you're Latina, hit me up. I live in Austin, Texas. Hit me up. Anyways, bye. Listen to my band in the outro. My band's good. If you like Green Day, listen to it. Peace.